A young model couple takes part in a luxurious journey, where their relationship, as well as the social order around them, gradually falls apart. An unexpected event brings them into a new situation, and the seemingly carefree vacation soon takes a grotesque turn. In this video, we will summarize the film's story called The Three Bonds of Sadness. So let's start with it. The model boy Kurt asks if he is being cast for happy or grumpy. For grumpy. He agrees, which is great, because it means a lot of money, and you can even look down on people. Happy is the same as H&M. Balenciaga is for grumpy. After this, they examine the process, and then they ask Lasix for the three bonds of sadness on his face, which is the part between the eyelids. After all, no one wants to see that on a model. First part. Kurt and Jaja. We see a fashionable beginning, where Kurt is a guest this time. Jaja, Sat's girlfriend, opens the door, with whom they go to dinner later in the restaurant. The woman pretends not to see the bill, but Kurt reminds her that he promised to pay it. Jaja organizes the bill, but is offended, so Kurt cuts her head off to make her look for more. But the waiter brings back the card, because it is not covered enough. So in the end, only Kurt pays. In the taxi, the topic of money comes up again. Kurt says that he would like a relationship free of stereotypes, where they are both equal. Then he adds in the elevator, so he feels that Jaja is using him. While the girl is allowed to press a little money in the cash register, and leaves her partner at the counter. Kurt lies down to sleep, but he can't turn off the light. Then Jaja also appears, who admits that she can be manipulative sometimes, and that she didn't take the bill directly. Because if she is expecting a child, she won't be able to model, so she needs to know that her partner will keep it. Kurt tells her that she could work elsewhere, but Jaja doesn't want to. The only acceptable option for her is to have an out-of-the-way wife after modeling. For this, of course, a lot of Instagram followers are needed. Then we find out that she is not in love, just because of the followers. The girl tells him that she will reach him once to get him. Part 2. The yacht. A helicopter arrives at a yacht, which delivers 3 glasses of Nutella to an unattainable cargo. Following this, Paula tells the crew that the success of the luxury ships depends on 2 things. On the first and last day of the trip, the guests have to meet all the requirements, so everyone should get ready, because at the end of the trip they can get a kiss bonus. A cleaning lady wakes up Jaja and Kurt, who, after getting up, go to the deck to take pictures and sunbathe. The crew is working out there, and the girl starts flirting with one of them. Kurt is afraid of this, and complains to Paula, then looks at the registration rings, which go into an inventory. Then Paula calls the captain, because it's time for the usual security practice. But the man with a loud voice doesn't want to take part in it. Jaja is taking pictures with pasta, but she doesn't want to eat it. In this madness there are a Russian oligarch, Dmitry, his wife Vera, and his lover Ludmila. Kurt tells them that his girlfriend is a famous influencer, so they got a free invitation. And it turns out that he's cheating on her. More precisely, he's cheating on her, and he's getting rich from it. At another table, an old English couple is having a conversation with a Toulouse woman, Teresa. Her husband tells her that he got a heart attack. His mind is in order, but he can't speak, he just repeats the sentence, that it's time to go. Kurt later sees that the guy, who he complained about, was kicked out. At night, he's in a sweater on the bed. According to Dmitry, he's a loser, who's having a great time with Kurt, as his girlfriend suggests. The guy asks the girls to take a picture of him, which he can send to his girlfriend. But according to Ludmila, they should take a group photo, even with a small flash. He'd like to thank the Fidzko Astrolexes, because he's very rich, which also makes Lihir jealous of the Russian and the model's son. Meanwhile, Paula has been fighting with a few captains, who can't take part in the dinner. The woman tells him to choose another day, except for the thunderstorm, as a big storm is expected that day. The captain, of course, suggests the thunderstorm. The next day's schedule is again sunbathing and eating, and of course, some photographing. Vera is a worker, who's trying to get her leash so that she can climb into the jacuzzi. But she can't do it, because she's in the service. But Vera forces her to feel good, so she has to climb into the water and everyone else has to do it on the ship. Paula asks the first officer, Darius, to tell the guests not to give up their personalities. But she doesn't get the hang of it, and she doesn't have time for it, because she has to keep a schedule. But she can't get used to her oligarchic mood, to the mechanics, to the cleaners, to the rest time fillers, and even to the janitors, because they have to go to work on an order. Although the abandoned seashells might be ruined for dinner. This time, Darius goes to see the captain, who is unchanging, and the weather becomes stormy. The guests greet the captain, and an old woman complains that the sail is dirty. Which, by the way, is not on the ship, because it's an engine. But since the woman is getting stronger, the captain promises to wash it out immediately. During the first catch, which starts with an oyster caviar, the acquaintance begins. The previously seen rich guy also tells that the programmer, the old English couple, are making a grenade factory. Previously, they also traveled in sailboats, but unfortunately, the ENS broke it. This is followed by the further catches, while the company gets worse and worse. Which is not only thanks to the seasickness, but also for the ruined food. The Russian woman is also not effective, i.e. she blows out her tail with a broom. The heartbroken woman gets a heart attack during the vacation, and the dinner is full of total chaos. The captain, of course, leaves this cold, and just sits at the table. Dmitri joins in soon, then they discuss capitalism and socialism. From the guests, the prayer is heard in every direction, while the captains are playing cards. Then Dmitri puts himself on the loudspeaker, and jokingly says that the ship is sinking. The guests, of course, take the attention seriously, panic, and pick up the lifeboats. But Dmitri says that he was just kidding. Then the captain sticks his tongue to himself, and says that while they are bathing in milk and butter, the world is drowning in sadness. Darius and Paula try to start the further run of dreams, but the captain and Dmitri do not let them into the cabin. The cleaners then line up at the place where the bath is. But the ship is still sinking, so the dirty water, so while the captain is still peeing, the shit covers the corridors. The chairs and the water calm down at dawn. The English couple admire the horizon, but when they are hungry, they throw a hand grenade on the surface, which is their own production. The third part is the island. A few hours later, the guests who survived reach the shore. The rich guy Fico, Jaja, Kar, Paula, Teres, Dmitri, and an unknown soldier who allegedly worked in the machine room. But the Russian doubts his words. He thinks he is also a fisherman. At night, scary animal sounds are heard from the forest, which frightens them and shoots their only escape route, in which one of the cleaning women, Abigail, is. With some water and food. Abigail is extremely hungry. She grabs a polypod, sets fire, and cooks dinner, which the others can't do. Since they didn't help, she keeps most of the food for herself. Paula thinks this is unfair, but Abigail doesn't give a nice word, and neither does the Russian money. She gets up and announces that the cleaner on the yacht was the same, but here she is the captain. And whoever recognizes this is included in the payment. After this, she suggests that the women sleep in the boat, and the men keep the fire and the pole. Of course, they don't want to worry, so they try to buy the places in the boat with their expensive hours. Carl and Kaluz don't really pay attention to the flames. They are more interested in Abigail's bag, in which they find trash, which they also take as food. In the morning, the water washes the bodies of the other passengers. Among them, the Russian wife, who, if she is already with her husband, Dmitri denies the values. Of course, the fire wasn't taken care of by the fire brigade, so she goes to sleep. Paula also reports the missing trash. Carl and Kaluz deny their deeds, but the evidence is against them. Since they are still lying, they are not allowed to eat during the ceremony. After Abigail, she takes fish for dinner, which Paula and Jaja help her with. The Russian tries to be useful by enlightening them. The criminals don't get food, so Carl starts to flirt with Abigail if he thinks about it. But his girlfriend gets hurt. The new captain announces that since Carl didn't eat, he can sleep in the tank. Jaja gets trash as food, but he admits that it doesn't mean that his son could do anything with Abigail. Later, Carl comes back to him, and they don't eat the food together, but the night rides become regular. Later, they find a broken pipe, which the rich found in a stone. But he didn't do his basic work, so he spends his poor wife in the cinema. In the evening, they take her out of her bag, while Jaja asks her what she is doing with her hand under Abigail's coat. She answers that she is just resting. The girl answers that she is kissing the murderer Samad. Later, we find out that Carl really became Abigail's boyfriend. But he is jealous of the kiss, so the woman brings up the idea that they could start a relationship. The next day, the guy who is afraid is waiting for the Russian wine. He asks how much he should pay for the pigeon to fly to his girlfriend for 3,000. Dmitri thinks he should buy a ship because it pulls the girls, so he could take them on a trip. Jaja disturbs the couple of Abigail and Carl, who asks for a backpack because he would look bad on the mountain. But Abigail doesn't trust him, so she takes him on a trip. Jaja praises him because he thinks he is calm. He creates a working matriarch and thanks him for keeping them alive. On the beach, a man appears who says he doesn't understand. The guy, who doesn't care that he has a woman in trouble, leaves him there. Meanwhile, Jaja comes across a luxury suit but she doesn't want to run away. She takes a big stone and is ready to push it down, but Jaja offers her a seat. If they go home, she could be her assistant. After this, we only see the running Carl, and that the girl has survived is dependent on her audience's imagination. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.